This week we are going to be working on a pop art project. Pop stands for popular, so back in the 50s, 60s era, there was an art style called pop art, where people and artists would make images or art that was based off of popular things. So we've learned about Andy Warhol in the past, who would paint famous people or do prints of famous people, or the Campbell soup can, just random popular things. In this case, this is more of the comic book Roy Lichtenstein style, where we have like the onomatopoeia and the action of it like popping off the paper and the vibrant colors. So we are going to be making this with different layers of paper. If I turn it to the side, you can kind of see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the words. You can do 3 to 4 layers. And we're going to make our word be an onomatopoeia, which is a sound word. Okay, so to start, I just want to preface this by saying that some of my paper is thicker than others, so aim for the thicker stuff. If you're using thinner paper, you're just going to need to support it with more accordion folds, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm only going to show you the words and one layer because all of your layers can be different. Your back layer should just be a rectangle for support. Try to use different colors in every layer and try to pick colors that are vibrant. We don't want muted tones like browns and blacks, maybe black for the words, but not for the rest. Now I'm just going to show you, I've got purple and I've got teal, and I'm going to show you how to do one background and then some words. So I'm going to make the words on here, and I did POW before. I'll do a bigger word. I'll do wham this time. So when you are making block letters, there are a couple ways you can do it. You can make your original letter first, but make sure it's pretty big, and I'll zoom us in a little bit. And then you can do it again underneath. And this does not work for every letter. It works for most, and it's even better when you're using pencil. So if you need to erase some things, you can. And then you would close it up. Now, because we're going to cut this out, you don't have to write your letters in a row. You can like use the paper as much as possible. So then I need an H. H is also, you could do it like that, or you can just kind of think about the shapes that you want. And this can be exaggerated. It doesn't have to be a perfect letter. But we don't want them teeny tiny because it's going to be even harder to cut out. Then I need an A, and for an A you can just do like a regular A, but I like to put a line at the top. Over, up, over, up, and then put that shape inside. And then I need an M. I'm kind of running out of room, so I'm just going to do one down here. I made it a little wider than necessary so that when I put the bigger one over top, it doesn't look so odd. You could do an exclamation point if you wanted to. Then you would trace these in Sharpie, which I already did, because you want your letters to have an outline effect, and that's easier to do when it's on paper, and then you can cut it out. I traced it twice, I think, and I made it a lot thicker. I also went in with marker with the same color. So I used a green marker and put green dots to give it that pop art comic book effect. And if you don't have marker, you can try to find one of mine that is working, or you can use colored pencil or crayon, but use the same color. So in this case, I would use blue, not necessarily teal if I don't have teal. Then I would cut those out, and I'll show you one of those in a little bit. And I would do something to make backgrounds. So please try to not waste paper. Use a pencil, draw lightly, erase if you need to. I'm gonna show you the one that everybody would always ask me for, and it's like the zigzaggy one. So I'm gonna zoom us back out. I like to start in the corner with one V, and then I just keep going around and I make them different shapes and sizes, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, and then I curve around. If it's easier to move your paper, you can move your paper. Now this situation is awkward, so I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, and then I would cut that out. Now, if you're having the issue where you can't see some of your layers, you need to think about the back one should be the biggest, the next one should take up most of your paper, and then you need to get smaller and smaller as you go. Not like tiny, but you want to have a little bit more negative space. So that means this is the positive stuff, this is the stuff we want. You're gonna have to have more. So my next piece, I would make just slightly smaller, or maybe even a different kind of line. Now I'm gonna cut out one letter, and I'm gonna show you how we're going to attach all of these things. You're gonna do this for everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut out my M really quick. And remember I said that you wanted to have the black outline. So I'm gonna try my best to cut it and keep it. I know you can't really see that, but it's not that exciting, I promise. Now we are going to be attaching every single thing with an accordion fold, and this is something we've used before. We just used it, some of us did, on our honeycomb bees. Okay, get those scraps out of the way. I have my M cut out. Now, I could have made my letters even bigger, and I probably should have, but I chose a bigger word. So these are pretty skinny. This is as small as I would want you to get for thickness. Now, I also have some strips of paper. You might have to cut your own, I don't know. I have some, but it's pretty easy to cut a strip. Then I'm gonna just cut a little piece of it, like probably 1 inch long. Could get smaller if you needed to. I'm gonna fold it forward, zoom us in a little bit, and then backwards like an accordion, and keep doing that. Doesn't really matter if it's straight. Each letter and each design is probably gonna need multiple. So for my M, I'm gonna need one here, probably one here, and one here. For your big pieces, you're gonna probably want one in every corner for sure, and then a couple in the middle for support. It's gonna start to sag in the middle if you don't have extra support, especially if you're using thinner paper. Okay, so I'm just showing you 2 for now. I would take glue or a glue stick. Glue stick's easiest, and if you don't have one, I can see if I have some working ones. Otherwise, you can use glue bottle, but you have to use like a little bit of white glue. I'm just gonna take this and rub the one edge, and I'm gonna stick it to my M and hold. My glue stick's getting a little old, so I don't know if it's gonna hold very well. I'm gonna do the other one, wipe it on, and hold. Oh, my other one fell off. Then you would put the glue on this side, and you would stick it down. And see how my middle is, it's kind of hard to tell, but my middle is sagging a little bit. That's because there isn't any support here. If there was support here, it wouldn't be sagging down. It's almost touching the paper. Okay? And that's how you're gonna get your pop art piece.